Today we review the Castelli Estremo gloves. Hello legends and super legends, welcome to Veloharmony. In today's review, I got a copy of a pair of the Castelli Estremo gloves. They claim to be for the range of -5 Celsius to 5 Celsius, meaning that if you go above 5 Celsius, your hand will probably be uncomfortable. We're gonna see, because I really wanna get some gloves that can work once you get below 0. Because -5 Celsius, it's around, let's see, 21, 22 Fahrenheit. So that's below 0. And supposedly that's the range, that's the lower limit of this. And my concern is how low can it go with liners and so forth, but I'm gonna test that limit with just wearing it because I've tried it on, fits really well. They have the Gore-Tex Infinium in there. This is highly water resistant. It breathes really well. So in the rain and the cold, it will function really well. The internal palm here, they've got some kind of a sticky, almost rubberized, and a rubberized feel to it, which supposed to give you really good grips on the bars. Then where you see this Castelli Scorpion, that's a pad, and they've reinforced the thumb area here with a good little wipe. It's a different fabric, very soft, very comfortable to wipe, your nose when you're riding. It's on both hands. So let me put it on. It's got a nice long sleeve here, which is great for getting your jacket in there. The Velcro here is long. It's about probably, let's see, 3.5 inches, almost 4 inches long for just this Velcro strap that keeps it in there. So once you get your sleeve, I like to put my sleeve inside. You can kind of just wrap this. One thing when you're dealing with Velcro, when you've put on one hand and you go to put on the other one, the Velcro is not very friendly towards gloves, so you got to be careful. So I'm going to see how this works. A lot of online reviewers had put comments, people who had bought them, complaining about the Velcro. So far, it seems okay. I like the sizing. This is a size large. You just measure your circumference of your hands. It's true fit. The fingers, they're not long, because some gloves, even when you get your size, you got a lot of extra. My fingers are right up there against the edge, and I look for that. The dexterity is good for gloves that are this warm. They appear bulky, but they actually feel slimmer than they appear. And so now that I've put this hand on, this is what people complained about, that the Velcro was snagging. I don't see what they were doing, but I think they may have been using this soft, fleecy backing for wiping your nose and letting it touch the Velcro. But if you're just putting it on, as you can see, I'm just grabbing it and just bringing it over, because they're saying that it was a problem. Well, I don't see that. I don't agree. That's not a problem. You just saw me do it, okay? I've just put it on, and in the few moments I've been wearing them, they feel nice and warm. I really have a feeling that much above, say, 5 to 7 Celsius, these will be uncomfortable. And the kind of days we have here, we may start out at, say, 0 Celsius, like tomorrow is supposed to be, I think, -1 to start. And then it's warming up to about 6 or 7 Celsius by 9 or 10 in the morning. Those are the days where you're going to start having problems with this glove when it warms up and changes a lot. So in those days, with these kind of gloves, it's best to carry an extra pair of liners or another lighter glove in your pocket so you can switch out. That's probably what I will do, because right now standing here, they feel nice and warm. So I'm looking forward to testing them on the outside. The Castelli Estremo road cycling gloves. They're nice and warm. They're built really well. Good fabrics. I love right here. Very tough. And that looks like nothing's going to get through that. And the same thing here. This is kind of almost like a light neoprene thing, so I can see how it keeps the water out. But all of that is almost like a light wetsuit thing here. So this is designed to keep water off. So this will be great when it's cold and wet. So the reason I'm mentioning this glove is because that has been like a weak point in my kit, where when it gets very cold, I have to start lining the lighter gloves and whatever. And you can only do so much. And then they start feeling odd and they feel even more bulky than what I'm wearing now. So I've been looking for something that would function below zero, thereabouts, -3, -5 Celsius. And these appear to be it. So we'll see how it performs out in the real world. All right, legends. It took a while to get this going. It is like -2.5 Celsius this morning. And I wanted to just show you the Estremo gloves. These grippers really mate with the bars. Very secure. So when they get wet in the rain, because they're very water resistant, it's going to really be secure. I really like the feel. It is -2.5 Celsius and they're warm. These are the warmest gloves I've worn. So they really work. These Estremo, they're not pulling your chain. They're the warmest glove. My hands are very comfortable and we're below freezing. So you're looking for warmer gloves than what you had, try the Estremo. I believe they're even warmer than the Ultras. I just got back from a ride. It's Sunday morning. It's about 10:35 a.m. I needed to get up early, get there because I had some other things to do. And I took the Castelli Estremo gloves. When I left the house, it was about -2 Celsius or so temperature-wise. And then on the ride, it got down to -5 Celsius, which is the lower range of these gloves. And supposedly they said that you should use them up to like 5 Celsius. But they actually worked fine up to almost 10 C by the time I got back. It was close to 10 C as far as the sun shining on the head unit. But I think that the range really comfortably is like 22 Fahrenheit, which is about 5 Celsius, -5 Celsius, to about probably 45 to 47 Fahrenheit, almost, 8 Celsius or so, probably close to 10, depending on whether it's a cold day or with wind. If it's a warm day, your hands will get too warm. But the main thing I want to talk about is that these are the first set of gloves that have kept my hands pain-free down to 22 degrees Fahrenheit. I mean, I was just blown away, and that's without liners. So what do I like about it? These grippers, I mean, it took me by surprise because they really stick to the bars. And the good thing is these resist a lot of water. So when your hands are wet, you don't have to worry about them slipping. It was a dry ride today, but they just made it with the bars. And it got to the point where I was trying to like drag my hand across the bar and they wouldn't move. They just hold their position so well. So when you're on the tops or the hoods or whatever, they just really, whatever this silicone material is that they use, it will stop water from getting in. Because a lot of the gloves on the inside, that's their weak point. Not the case here. They are my warmest pair of gloves so far. And they look bulky, but they're not. There's a lot of dexterity. They work well. There's no problem shifting or anything. And the fingers, my fingers, this is a size large, and my fingers meet the gloves. There's no extra material on the tips. So the sizing is really true to size, which is unusual for my, dealings with Castelli. I always have to size up. And then these pads here with the scorpion on them, they just, basically you just don't feel anything. You feel the bars. It's not like you have no bar feel. You get bar feel. It just blends in. But when it was really, really cold, I mean, I had my face covered and everything with this guy. This is my neck gaiter that I was using. I had to cover everything because it was so cold. Like this. I never thought about my hands, which told me that even though they say that's their limit, they can go a little lower depending on your tolerance. So I know for a fact that these are going to be my go-to gloves once it drops below freezing or close to freezing, because I can always layer them. The other thing I love is the Velcro. I locked in my jacket. It never came out in a 3-hour ride. Because the other gloves, they just have sleeves and your layer, depending on what you wear, your jersey, this is just a wind breaker, but your jersey or whatever can slide out during the ride. Because I wore another pair of gloves yesterday with my Rafa Pro Team thermal jersey with those bands on there, and they kept sliding out of the ASOS gloves and even the Rafa gloves. They just don't hold. You're not going to have a problem with these. This Velcro here does the job. I mean, you put it there, it's not, those things are not coming out. So I really love that. So I'm going to be looking for gloves that are a little lighter, maybe from Castelli as well, that have this kind of a Velcro so that when I put things in there, they will stay in place, because that's been a weak area. So my hands were never uncomfortable below freezing. 22 degrees Fahrenheit for hours today. So I'm going to take them off right now and then see how they feel with liners, because if I need to go lower than 22, you know, so at 22, which is like -5 Celsius, my hands felt cool. I would say cold, but not painful. They were not tingling or anything. Those of you who ride in the cold, you know what I mean. They were just on the verge of getting on my mind at 22°C. And then the day got warmer. So what that told me is, if we're going to have days where it's going to be 22°C, I'm going to put a layer in there because they've already exceeded my expectations. Let me grab a layer here. There are two different kinds of layers that I use. This is from ASOS, and they called them their, I guess, liner gloves. That's what these are called. And this is like the spring fall gloves. These are very light as well. So I've got two sets. These go with everything because it really just lines, it puts like another layer on your hands. And they're really, really nice. The material is a little thermal, but it's just soft and comfortable. I just wanted to kind of see how they would feel with these. And these gloves, even though they're my actual size large, they're somewhat roomy. So I know that these liners are not going to be a problem, and I will experiment with other gloves, but not on this video. But I'm just using a basic liner. You could use a woolen liner if you want it. And my first impression is they're easy to get in with the liner, and I'm not feeling like I'm losing that much dexterity. That's the problem with liners. If you saw the liner I put on, they mated with my hand very well. That's important. If the liners don't fit you well when you put them in the glove, you don't get your finger to get up here. When your fingers don't reach up here, that really increases the loss of dexterity. If your fingers reach up there, you can see I'm pressing on them, they're right there. When your fingers reach, then you have that dexterity and you don't feel like you're wearing ski gloves per se. So these will work with those liners very well, and I really like that. So I'm sold. Water resistant, heavy duty material. This is like a light neoprene material here. This is all water resistant, and that's where your breathability comes in. My hand never got hot, never sweat, even though I exceeded the 5C. It got close to 10C by the time my ride was done. But these are going to be my go-to gloves when they get cold. I've been looking for a pair, and the Castelli Estremo fit that. I will do a comparison between these gloves and the ASOS Ultras in another video. But if you're looking for something to keep your hands warm, this is it. No one glove can cover every temperature, but this will work. And with a liner, it will even go beyond what they said that it should. But the Italians, once again, have shown, besides the aesthetics, it's a beautiful pair of gloves, the function is top-notch. And so I have to give them kudos. I'm going to have to look at some of their lighter gloves for the lighter temperature ranges, because this Gore-Tex Infinium, that's what gives you that breathability. And that's really what I think sets this glove apart. It's breathable, warm, and close to being waterproof, depending on how well you put your rain jacket over here. Because when it's rainy and cold, these are the gloves you want. The Castelli Estremo. To that effect, let nothing stop you from getting your K's.